day and welcome. Today we are going to be treating GST 101B titled The Use of English. Our topic for today is what? Outlining. Now below what we are going to do today under outlining. We are going to introduce outlining. Second, we are going to look at the advantages of an outline. Thirdly, we are going to look at the comparison between what a good outline and a good essay. Then fourthly, we are going to look at some of the techniques necessary for writing an outline. Then fifth, we are going to look at what the characteristic of an outline. Then lastly, we are going to look at what how to make outline a regular activity. In our previous class, we talked about what essay writing, choosing an essay topic. Now, as essay is as important to a student in any university or any higher institution of learning or wherever it is, writing an essay, outlining is also what very, very necessary and very important. Now, an outline is just what a plan. It is a plan of writing what a full-blown essay. Without an outline, an essay cannot be what written. An outline is just what a plan. Remember that no house comes to be. The house must have what a plan. Then the architect further what develops such plan into what the building. So now, for you to have an essay just look at what the flesh, while the outline serves as what the skeletal structure. Let us look at some of the advantages of an outline. And the advantages are being coined out from what? The purpose of an outline. The first purpose of an outline is that it what? An outline what? Contains what should be in an essay. An outline contains what should be in an essay. Telling you that what shouldn't be in an essay. Things that are not necessary to be included in the essay are being what? Dropped out. An outline includes what should be in an essay. Another one is that what? It eliminates irrelevancies. With an outline, you are able to what? Eliminate irrelevancies. Things that are not relevant to your essay. Things that are not relevant to your discourse writing. It is being what? Eliminated. And how do you do such? If you don't have an outline of what you are to write, how can you know that such a point or such points are what? Irrelevant. Another aspect is that what? It is the skeletal structure or plan to unfold. Now, when they say be a skeletal structure or a plan, that means as a plan, an outline is something that as a reader tends to read an essay or tends to read any article, he unfolds what? The outline. The outline is the skeletal structure. Why it is the duty of a writer to flesh the upward, the outline. It's just like covering someone when someone is naked. Being naked is the outline. Before it becomes an essay, the person is putting on what? A dress. Another use of the outline. An outline helps you to make what? Things so easy. When writing an examination, for example, by the time you've outlined whatsoever you want to do in that examination, you see that it becomes so easy. It is the outline that tells you if you know what you are going to do or not. Now, the ability to outline such things gives you what? Providence, makes you what? Efficient in whatsoever you are going to write. So having looked at few advantages of an outline, we are going to look at what? A good outline versus a good essay. Now, it is true that when you have a good outline, you are going to have what? A good essay. But mind you, note this, very important, it is not always when you have a good outline that you can be able to have a good essay. Why do I say so? The person or the student who has outlined whatsoever topic he's going to treat in an essay, if he or she is not knowledgeable on the topic he has chosen, you may have a nice outline, but now the language to express yourself, the language to develop your points becomes what? A problem. So it is not always true that a good outline gives you a good essay. But a good outline stimulates what? A good essay. It brings about good essay. But a bad outline does what? It destroys, it tarnishes it, it orchestrates what? The effectiveness of what? That outline. Now, having looked at trying to compare a good outline and a good essay and seeing their relationship, the next step line of action we're going to look at is what? The techniques for writing an outline. What are some of those steps in writing an outline? You cannot just go into writing an outline without knowing the techniques involved. It's just like someone going to buy a car without having money. Is it possible? No. Now you ask yourself out there, is it possible for me to write an outline without following what? A step. Now, here are about 4 techniques in writing an outline. Now, the first technique is what? Break essay into what? Headings and subheadings. Let's assume you are reading an essay. You are reading an essay, an article, a write-up, whatsoever. Now, the first thing that guarantees you that yes, I can build up an outline is to do what? To break such an outline, an essay into what? Headings and what? Subheadings. Now, let's assume the outline said write on part of the body. Now, when you're writing on part of the body, what is going to be the heading? The heading here is going to be what? Parts of the body. Now, what are some of those subheadings? The subheadings means what follows the heading. Now, if you check the body can be divided into 3 parts, which is what? The head, the main body, and what? The legs. 3 parts, which are what? Subheadings. So you see that an outline does not just appear. You must divide it into what? Headings and subheadings. Secondly, for you to be able to write a good outline, you must be able to what? Put points down on what to discuss in each component part. You must put some points down on what to discuss. Remember, our topic was what? Part of the body, and we said the part of the body can be divided into 3: the head, the main body, and the legs. Now let's assume we are to discuss on the head first of all. What are some of those points you can discuss on your head? Now remember, on your head you have a hair outside, you have ears, you have eyes, you got nose, you have what? Your mouth. Now in the mouth we have teeth, we have tongue. Now within the head we have what? A brain, which humans use to think. You see that these are some points we have to talk about. Then before you now start writing, the eyes is used for seeing. But how will you know that eye is used for seeing? How will your outline be so good if that's what? If you don't put down the points you want to discuss. Thirdly, you write an outline in words and phrases. An outline must be written in words and phrases. An outline is not meant to be written in sentences. You start writing the whole story. No. Outline means just bringing out chunks of words. Now, with those chunks of words, it can remind you of what? The larger things you want to write. Now, the 4th point, when you have time, by the time you are done doing all those things, reorganize your points accordingly. Your points should be what? Arranged in the outline. Remember, when you were putting down points, you've not started writing what they asked you to do. First of all, you made an outline. When you have time, arrange it accordingly. Maybe when you were putting down your point, you first talked about leg, main body before head. Now, at this point, you need to reorganize your outline. Put it accordingly: head, main body, before you talk about what? The legs. So, having these techniques in mind, having known these techniques, the next thing we are going to check are what? Characteristic of an outline. When they say a characteristic of an outline, what are those things that the outline possesses? Now, below are some of the characteristics. Now, an outline must have a title. An outline must have what? A title. Without a title, you can't call such thing an outline. Remember that we said it's an outline that gives you what? An essay. So now, most times, the topic of the essay you are to write serves as what? The topic of your what? The title of your outline. The topic of the essay you are to write serves as the title of your outline. Secondly, we have what? Subtitles. What are subtitles? Subtitles means what? Subtopic, mini title, anything, any title that can go be under the what? The main title can serve as what? Can serve as the subtitle. Let's assume the title of what you are going to teach, they are going to teach you today, is talking about what? Let's assume the English clause. What are going to be some of the subtitles? Types of clause. Example of type of clause which you've done in your secondary school are what? The noun clause as a subtitle, adverbial clause as a subtitle, and what? Or an adjectival clause. You see that these are what? Subtitles. Now, after knowing that, another characteristic of an outline is that what? It is numbered in consistent manner. You don't just number an outline after number 1, you jump to number 6 before you come back to number 2. No. An outline is what? Numbered in consistent manner. They follow each other consistently. Now, the fourth characteristic, and this is very important about the outline, is that what? An outline possesses what? Relevant points. When they say relevant, important points. That means with an outline, you know what is not supposed to be in the essay and what is supposed to be there. An outline does not pick out something that is not necessary. Let's assume they send in your essay, they ask you to what? Talk about what? The history of Nigeria. And instead of you talking about Nigeria, you are busy going, in your outline is containing history of America. What does history of America has to do? In your outline, relevant points must be what? Contained. When relevant points are being omitted, that means your outline will be what? Faulty. Another characteristic of an outline is what? Brevity. When they talk of brevity, brevity means what? Ability of being what? Brief. Brief. Now, in outline, you don't say stories. An outline is not the essay, but it is what? It is what can give birth to what? The essay. That means to tell you that what? The essay is the product of what? The outline. An outline must be brief, so brief. And remember earlier we said that an outline is being written in what? Words and phrases, not in full sentences. Because by the time you start writing in full sentences, what do you have? You have an essay. Hope you are following. The sixth point of an outline must be what? Logical, systematic, and what? Sequential. When they say something is being logical, in logic, there are things that what? Follows each other, some things that what? Succeeds each other. Let's assume the outline you have to write, they talk about what? Features of the head. What is in your head? You cannot start talking of what is under and then jump to what is above, which is your head. If you are to start from under, let's assume you are talking of what? Your chin. You are talking of your chin. The next thing you should be able to talk about should be the mouth, not jumping from the chin to the eye. You see that things are going what? Logically, systematically. And when you are starting from the top, make sure that everything what? As descends